Sometimes it feels like you have everything, a cozy home, a good job, stability. But what do you do when your soul feels empty and loneliness becomes your constant companion? This story is about searching for yourself, about complicated relationships, mistakes, betrayal, and forgiveness. It's about how important it is not to be afraid to start over and to believe in love, even if it has already burned you once. Are you ready to find out how one random evening can turn your whole life upside down? A chance encounter. Adrian sat in a Los Angeles cafe, gazing sadly out the window at the noisy autumn rain. He didn't want to go home. It was cozy there but lonely. A nice apartment, a great job, a car. He seemed to have it all. But after breaking up with Alice, his personal life felt like a vacuum. Alice was from an educated family, a talented pianist with 2 degrees, and very attractive. Yet, for some reason, Adrian always felt inferior next to her. He thought Alice was better, smarter, more cultured, more refined. And it wasn't just in his head, it was true. His ego shrank, hiding somewhere deep inside. And he never felt the joy from their conversations that he longed for. "You're so insecure," his mother Susan would say. "Why are you such a coward? If you like a girl, go after her. Alice is a gift from fate. She's kindness and tenderness itself. What more could you want? She's probably just too smart for me," Adrian would reply with a smile. "I feel like an idiot next to her. I can't talk about her favorite music or composers. Once she asked me about my favorite composer, and I had nothing to say. What do I know about classical music? Nothing. I'm not a schoolboy to be called to the blackboard and laughed at. I'm just not strong in classical music." "That's a shame. Did she ever laugh at you?" his mother asked. "No, but I could see it in her eyes, something like pity and a smirk," Adrian replied, turning away. "She's beautiful and of course incredibly talented. With your self-esteem, you'd only feel comfortable with people you can look down on. But you should strive to be with those who challenge you, who help you grow. Spiritually, you know." Susan chided him. Adrian kissed his mother and went home. He had been living on his own for 2 years, had renovated and furnished his place. Alice had never visited. Adrian never dared to invite her. They met in cafes, went to the theater and concerts. Eventually, their meetings faded away. Adrian lost hope of winning the heart of such a serious, music-obsessed woman. Alice, out of pride, never called, and Adrian tried to forget her. After all, nothing really happened between them. Just a few awkward dates that only left Adrian confused. Rain drummed on the cafe window as Adrian waited for it to ease up so he could get to his car. Suddenly, a completely soaked girl rushed in. She looked around and, noticing Adrian sitting alone, headed straight for him. "Is it really pouring out there?" Adrian asked as she sat down, asking for permission. "It's awful. I'm soaked and freezing." Tears sparkled in her eyes. "What's wrong? Would you like some hot tea?" Adrian asked. "I don't have any money with me. I just ran out like this with only a small bag." She sighed, turning away, her shoulders trembling. Adrian ordered a pot of tea and tried to comfort her. She told him that a broken, unrequited love had shattered her heart. She'd dropped out of college and would probably return to her hometown to look for work. Raindrops still clung to her lashes. She was sweet. A wide smile lit up Mary's face. She introduced herself after warming up with tea. "Thank you so much. You're my savior. It's so nice here. I'm warm now and all the bad thoughts are gone," she said dramatically. Adrian looked at her in alarm. He stroked her hand, trying to calm her, and she smiled again, saying, "No, it's past. I'm just glad there are people like you in the world." She looked him straight in the eyes and whispered, "Honestly, if it weren't for you and your wonderful tea, I don't know what would have happened to me." For a moment, her face grew serious again, and she turned to the window, brushing away tears. "Where will you go now?" Adrian asked kindly, glancing outside. The rain had become a drizzle. "I don't know," she suddenly replied. "I have nowhere to go. I'll sit here for a while if they don't kick me out, and then maybe I'll wander the city or go to the station. I don't know. Come to my place, you can stay the night and decide tomorrow," Adrian said, determined to help Mary. "Is that okay? I'd be grateful if I'm not bothering your family. I don't really have any close friends here. No, maybe I'll just go to the station." But he was already leading her to his car. At home, Adrian showed her the bathroom. "Take a hot shower so you don't get sick. There's a clean robe, mine, it's big, but it's all I have." Mary happily dove into the shower. She came out with rosy cheeks, looking content, cozy and gentle. Adrian had already made dinner. "This is what I had. Please join me." They had dinner. He tried to ask her about herself, but she said, "Not now. I feel so good I don't want to remember anything. What if we never see each other again? I'd rather not leave you with just sad stories and complaints. Tell me about yourself. Let's use first names if you don't mind." Adrian told her about his work, his friends. Mary listened with wide eyes, sometimes forgetting to eat, admiring Adrian's achievements, and laughing at his attempts to joke. That night, Adrian made up a bed for himself on the couch, while Mary took his bedroom. But before he could fall asleep, she quietly tiptoed over and slipped into his arms. In the morning, he brought her coffee in bed before rushing off to work. She asked if she could stay for a couple of days, until her mother sent her money for the trip home. Adrian agreed. In the evening, she greeted him with a simple dinner. "You know, I can't cook anything but fried potatoes, so don't be mad. The kitchen isn't my thing. How was your day, Adrian?" she said, pressing herself against him. "I missed you so much." Mary lived with Adrian for a week. He bought groceries and filled the fridge. Then they went shopping, where he bought her some essentials, clothes and cosmetics. "I'm so grateful, Adrian. What would I do without you? I'm so lucky to have met you," she said with tears in her eyes, kissing him even in public. Adrian was embarrassed by her openness, but Mary confidently took his arm and led him to the next store. 2 more weeks passed. Passionate nights with his new acquaintance made his head spin, but a sense of unease settled deep inside, preventing him from feeling truly in love or happy. He kept Mary a secret from his mother and friends, not yet sure what to call their relationship. She was a good, even naive girl, simple and gentle. But this wasn't how Adrian had imagined love. He never even had a chance to win her over. Everything happened so fast, and suddenly she wasn't planning to leave at all. "One more thing, your mom. Have you called her?" Adrian asked one evening over dinner. "Huh? What? Mom?" Mary flinched. "Oh yes. I called her, of course. She sent me a little money. But I just can't leave you, Adrian." Tears sparkled in Mary's eyes again. Adrian was amazed at how quickly her mood could change. "What's wrong? Are you upset?" He tried to comfort her. "You started this conversation, and now I can't leave you. That means I've fallen in love, Adrian. Like I've never loved before. Do you believe me?" She looked at him with her blue eyes, moved her lips closer, and rested her head on his shoulder. I've fallen in love. And I can't leave, do you understand? Mary hugged him, wrapped her arms around him, and a sweet haze clouded Adrian's mind. No one had ever made him feel this way before. He picked her up and carried her to the bedroom. Another week passed. One evening, Mary met Adrian at the door, limping badly. What happened? He asked, alarmed. I twisted my ankle, honey. You asked me to clean the apartment, so I tried to dust the chandelier. I fell and now it hurts to step on it. See? I'm an invalid, my leg hurts. Mary made a pained face and leaned against the wall. Oh, my poor thing. Adrian tried to comfort her. Go lie down on the couch. Tomorrow I'll call a cleaning service. Mary lay down and pleaded. Maybe don't call a cleaning service? It's expensive. Wouldn't it be better to hire a neighbor like Mrs. Johnson? She'll clean everything and it'll be cheaper. I feel so guilty. I already called, Adrian shouted from the kitchen. Don't worry. I'll go to the pharmacy and get an elastic bandage and some ointment. You just rest. Adrian felt like a real man. He took care of his girlfriend, who had so suddenly fallen into his arms from the very first night. He fed her, clothed her, even treated her. The only thing that surprised him was her reluctance to work. Adrian had tried to help her find a job, offered options, but she always asked for more time to think and never made a decision. He kept wondering how to introduce her to his mother, because it was clear Mary was serious about their future together. The next day, Adrian left work early to make dinner himself. He was worried about Mary and bought a bouquet of flowers to cheer her up. As he opened the door, he heard the vacuum cleaner running loudly in the living room. Oh, right. The cleaning lady. I called her yesterday, Adrian remembered, setting his briefcase down. Then the vacuum turned off, and he overheard a conversation. Stop being jealous, Linda. Yes, I found myself a great guy. Why do you care? Jealous that we used to work together. And now I'm living the good life while you're still scrubbing floors. Mary's voice was loud and commanding. Apparently, with the vacuum on, they hadn't heard Adrian come in. He froze in the hallway, stunned. Yeah, what's there to be jealous of, Mary? You jump from one guy to another, flitting from bedroom to bedroom. Found another sucker to take care of you. Be careful you don't get kicked out again. The cleaning lady replied gruffly. That's none of your business. He's not a sucker, he's a successful guy. And he's in love with me, we're getting married soon, you'll see. And you'll still be cleaning up after me. Got it? Mary started shouting, then launched into a string of curses. The vacuum turned on again, drowning out the rest. Adrian, his hand trembling, quietly turned the doorknob and slipped back out with his bouquet. He sat on the steps outside, catching his breath. The bouquet lay beside him. After a minute, he pulled himself together, picked up the flowers and left the building. He sat on a bench outside, knowing his apartment windows faced the other side and no one could see him. His thoughts raced. How could this happen? Mary, what a fool I am. She played me like a kid. And I believed her. So much for love. She's just a gold digger. That's her real face. My God, she curses like a drunken sailor. He didn't know how long he sat there. He was startled when the cleaning lady appeared, dragging a big vacuum and a bucket of supplies. She stopped by the bench, set down her load, and pulled out a pack of cigarettes. Her hand shook, but she lit one and looked at him with curiosity. All done cleaning? Adrian asked. She nodded, watching in surprise as he placed the bouquet in her bucket and walked back to the building. For me? he heard behind him. Yes, for you. For your hard but important work. Thank you, Adrian replied. At home he found Mary looking anxious, and he immediately understood why. His work briefcase was still in the hallway. He'd forgotten it when he left after overhearing the conversation. Have you been home long? She asked warily. The cleaning's all done. At my place, Adrian clarified. What? Mary didn't understand. At my place. Not ours, Adrian repeated, stepping away from her outstretched hands. What's wrong? Oh, you saw Linda, didn't you? She told you something? Don't believe her. She's a liar. What did she say? Huh? Mary bombarded him with questions, nervously pacing the apartment. You forgot, Adrian said. I didn't forget anything. I'll show her how to lie, she shouted, shaking her fist. You forgot to limp, Adrian clarified. Mary shot him an angry look and replied, My leg's better. Your care helped, Adrian. She tried to hug him again, but he said coldly, We're just too different, it turns out. You didn't even give me time to figure things out. You need to leave now. You have money. I don't think I've treated you badly. Mary immediately burst into loud tears, so much so that Adrian thought the whole building could hear her. It's okay. You'll go to the station now. You'll calm down at home and everything will be fine. I wish you luck, Adrian said. To his own surprise, he felt calm. It was as if everything had finally fallen into place. He didn't even feel hurt, let alone in love. An hour later, she left in a taxi. He lay on the couch and spent the evening in a half-sleep. The next day was his day off. The doorbell rang. His mom was at the door. Adrian, sorry for dropping by unannounced, she said, looking around. Are you okay? You didn't answer your phone yesterday, so I thought maybe you were sick. It's fine, Mom. I know my downstairs neighbor, Mrs. Smith, is your eyes and ears. She told you, right? Yeah, it was noisy yesterday. I called a cleaning service. I knew you'd be mad about the mess if you visited. His mother looked at him, unsure whether to take his words as a joke or seriously. She looked at Adrian with concern, not sure whether to laugh or worry. So, I heard you have a girlfriend now? She asked directly. No, Mom, not really. Maybe cockroaches or fleas, but not a girlfriend, Adrian replied with a strained laugh. His mother stood up and touched his forehead, as if checking for a fever. All right, I'll call you later, she said cautiously, watching him. The main thing is that you're healthy. No, don't go. Let's have some tea. Come on, I have pastries. Adrian opened the fridge, surprising his mother with how well stocked it was. Finally, you're becoming a real man. Eating properly, taking care of yourself. My son, she said with relief. They sat and drank tea. After a while, Susan said quietly, I saw Alice at the theater recently. She's become so beautiful. So? How is she? Still single? Adrian asked, trying to sound casual. You're joking, but she actually asked about you. She's single, working, and told me to say hi to you, Susan replied. 2 weeks later, Adrian was walking through a Los Angeles park, the first snow of the season dusting the city. He wandered into an artsy cafe where he and Alice used to spend time together. She had brought him here for the first time, where they'd shared violin-shaped pastries and mulled wine. The cafe was nearly empty. Only one woman sat by the window. It was Alice. Adrian admired her for a moment. She hadn't seen him, sitting with her back to the door. He walked up quietly and asked, Are you waiting for someone, Alice? She started, turned, and smiled. Her eyes sparkled with warmth. I am. And I've been waiting a long time. I miss you. Adrian sat down across from her. Now she seemed the very embodiment of beauty, grace, and femininity. He didn't even realize where he found the courage. Has anyone ever told you that you look like an angel, Alice? She suddenly looked a little sad and studied Adrian carefully. You've changed. Did something happen? Yes, I've changed. I missed you. A lot. Forgive me. For what? Alice raised her delicate eyebrows. For being a coward, Adrian said, taking her hand in his. But I want to make it right. May I? She nodded, and he saw her nervousness and shyness. That evening they walked for hours along the city's snowy paths. And after that, they never parted for long again. The week after that meeting in the cafe felt like a new beginning for Adrian and Alice. They spent hours walking through the city, talking about everything and nothing, rediscovering each other. This time there was no awkwardness or fear of being misunderstood. Adrian felt calm and confident with Alice, and she seemed even warmer and more open than before. One evening, Adrian invited Alice over to his apartment. He spent the whole day preparing, cleaning, lighting candles, picking out a bottle of wine, and even attempting to cook dinner himself, though he was no chef. Alice arrived a little early, her smile gentle, her eyes shining with anticipation. It's so cozy here, she said, taking off her coat. I never imagined you were such a good host. I try, Adrian replied, a little embarrassed. I just want you to feel comfortable. They ate, talked, and listened to music. Alice told him about her work, her concerts, and how she sometimes missed her childhood. Adrian shared his thoughts and dreams, not afraid to sound silly or naive. At one point, he noticed Alice watching him with a special tenderness and a hint of sadness. You know, she said softly, I thought about you a lot, even when we weren't talking. I felt like I'd lost something really important. And now I'm afraid to lose it again. Adrian took her hand. I was afraid too. But I don't want to lose another minute. Let's try again. No fears, no doubts. Alice smiled and nodded. That night they stayed together for the first time. Everything felt natural and right, without pretense or drama. For the first time in a long while, Adrian felt truly happy. The following weeks flew by. Adrian and Alice became inseparable. They went to concerts, hosted cozy evenings at home, and took weekend trips out of the city. Alice introduced Adrian to her musician friends, and he introduced her to his colleagues. Susan, Adrian's mother, was overjoyed to see her son so happy and confident. I always knew you and Alice were meant for each other, she said, serving them pie. Just don't lose this feeling. One day, Alice suggested they visit her parents in San Diego. Adrian was nervous, but the trip went surprisingly well. Alice's parents were kind, cultured people who welcomed Adrian as one of their own. They talked for hours, walked in the old city park, and shared funny stories from Alice's childhood. I like you, Adrian, Alice's father said one evening when they were alone in the kitchen. You're honest and open. I can see you love my daughter. That's what matters. Adrian felt a weight lift from his heart. He realized he now had not only a beloved woman, but a real family. Spring came early to Los Angeles. The city was full of light and hope, and Adrian found himself thinking more and more about the future, about how to make Alice happy. One evening as they walked along the beach, Adrian stopped, took Alice's hands and looked into her eyes. Alice, he said, I want you by my side always. Will you marry me? Alice was surprised, but her eyes filled with tears of joy. Yes, Adrian. I will. They stood together holding each other, the world around them fading away. Nothing else mattered, only that they were together. Preparing for the wedding was exciting but not stressful. Alice didn't want a big celebration, and Adrian agreed. They planned a small gathering for family and close friends. Alice chose a simple but elegant dress, and Adrian wore a classic suit. On the wedding day, the sun shone brightly over Los Angeles. The ceremony was filled with love and laughter. Susan cried tears of happiness, and Alice's parents hugged the newlyweds. Afterward, everyone gathered at a cozy restaurant, where there was live music, laughter, and heartfelt toasts. To love that overcomes all challenges. Adrian's friend toasted. To a lifetime together, added Alice's mother. The evening was filled with joy, dancing, and celebration. No one could have guessed that the most unexpected moment was still to come. As the wedding celebration reached its peak, the guests settled at their tables and the host announced, "Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to watch a short film about our newlyweds." The lights dimmed, and the screen flickered to life. Childhood photos of Adrian and Alice appeared, followed by snapshots from their school and college years, sweet moments from their courtship, and fun times with friends. The guests smiled, some wiped away tears, others laughed as they recognized themselves in the old pictures. Adrian held Alice's hand, feeling her excitement and happiness. Everything was perfect, until suddenly, something unexpected flashed on the screen. Instead of another photo of Alice, an image of Mary appeared. The very girl who had once unexpectedly entered Adrian's life and then disappeared just as suddenly. The photo was taken in his apartment. Mary wearing his shirt, laughing and holding a cup of coffee. Then another photo. Mary and Adrian together in the kitchen, his arm around her shoulders. Then a selfie in the mirror, Mary kissing Adrian on the cheek. A heavy silence fell over the room. Someone gasped, others exchanged confused glances. Susan covered her mouth in shock. Adrian felt his hands go cold. He couldn't believe his eyes. He had deleted those photos long ago, and certainly never intended for them to be shown at his wedding. Alice sat frozen, her face pale. She stared at the screen, as if unable to comprehend what was happening. After the photos of Mary, the slideshow returned to the usual wedding images, but no one was paying attention anymore. Alice abruptly stood up, pulled her hand from Adrian's, and without a word ran out of the hall. The door slammed behind her. An awkward, heavy silence filled the room. Adrian jumped up to follow her, but Susan stopped him gently. "Give her a moment, son." He stood there lost, his mind racing. Who could have put those photos in the film? How did they even get there? He felt humiliated and confused, but most of all, he worried about Alice, what she must be feeling, and how he could possibly explain. The guests began to whisper. Some tried to make light of the situation. Others looked at Adrian with sympathy. The host fumbled for words, trying to shift the mood, but the festive atmosphere was gone. Adrian hurried out to find Alice. He knew their love was facing its greatest test. He found her in the hallway, standing by a window, dabbing her face with a tissue. Her shoulders shook and Adrian's heart ached. "Alice," he called softly, approaching her. She didn't turn, only gripped the tissue tighter. "Alice, please listen to me," Adrian said gently, touching her shoulder. "I had no idea those photos even existed anymore. That was before us. I have no idea how they ended up in the film. I swear I would never have let that happen." Alice was silent for a moment, then turned to him, her eyes full of tears and hurt. "This is humiliating, Adrian." Everyone saw. Everyone. Her voice trembled. "How could you not check? Why did those photos even exist?" "Alice," he said, taking her hands, "I didn't know those photos were still around. It was before you, before us. I don't know who would do something like this. But I love only you. Only you, do you hear me? The past is over. I want to be with you and only you." She looked at him for a long time, breathing heavily, then lowered her eyes. I'm so embarrassed," she whispered. "There's nothing for you to be embarrassed about," Adrian said softly. "You did nothing wrong. Someone wanted to hurt us, but they won't succeed. We're together and that's what matters. I love you, Alice. I won't let anyone destroy our happiness." He hugged her, and finally she let herself cry on his shoulder. Adrian stroked her hair, repeating that everything would be all right. After a few minutes, Alice wiped her tears, took a deep breath and nodded. "Let's go back," she said. "I don't want everyone to think we gave up." They returned to the hall, hand in hand. The guests greeted them with relief and support. Susan was the first to approach, hugging Alice and whispering, "It's all right, sweetheart. The most important thing is that you're together." Adrian and Alice sat at their table. The host, seeing them return, smiled and announced, "Now only joy, only happiness for the newlyweds." Gradually, the festive mood returned. Adrian and Alice looked at each other with new confidence. Now they knew they could overcome anything together. The rest of the evening passed in a different atmosphere, more thoughtful but also more sincere. Friends and family surrounded Adrian and Alice with warmth and support, doing their best to restore the joy of the celebration. The music played, people danced, and laughter slowly returned to the room. Later that night, when the last guests had left and the city lights of Los Angeles twinkled outside their window, Adrian and Alice sat together in silence, holding hands. The events of the day still echoed in their minds, but now there was a new sense of unity between them. Alice broke the silence first. "You know, I never imagined our wedding would turn out like this." Adrian smiled gently. "Neither did I. But maybe it's a good thing. We faced something difficult together right from the start. And we didn't let it break us." She looked at him, her eyes soft. "I believe you, Adrian. I believe in us. I just want to leave the past behind and move forward." He squeezed her hand. "That's all I want too. I love you, Alice. And I promise whatever happens, I'll always be honest with you." Alice leaned her head on his shoulder, and for a long moment, they simply enjoyed the quiet, knowing that their bond had only grown stronger. In the weeks that followed, Adrian and Alice settled into married life. The incident at the wedding became just another story, one that, in time, they could even laugh about. They learned to trust each other more deeply, to talk openly about their feelings, and to support one another through any challenge. Susan visited often, always bringing homemade treats and words of encouragement. Alice's parents called regularly, happy to hear their daughter's voice full of new confidence and joy. Adrian and Alice built new traditions together. Sunday breakfasts at their favorite cafe, evening walks along the beach, and quiet nights at home with music and conversation. They made plans for the future, dreaming of travel, family, and all the adventures that awaited them. Sometimes when the past tried to cast a shadow, they remembered that night at their wedding, the night they chose each other no matter what. And that choice, made in the face of adversity, became the foundation of their life together. In life, we all face moments when the past threatens our happiness. But true love is not about perfection. It's about forgiveness, trust, and the courage to move forward together. Adrian and Alice's story is a reminder that even the most unexpected trials can make us stronger if we face them hand in hand. And you, what would you do in their place? How do you handle the shadows of the past? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Leave a like if this story touched you. And don't forget to subscribe for more real stories about love, life, and second chances.